The SEC drops a bombshell late Thursday. The SEC drops a bombshell late Thursday evening, deciding to go to a 9-game conference schedule in 2026. We'll talk about what that means for the Oklahoma Sooners, as they will now have 3 protected rivals starting next season. And we're going to project 2025 for OU, how many wins, how many losses, and who wins player awards at the end of the season. You don't want to miss this Sooner Intel. Welcome back to Sooner Intel with myself, Jason Watkins from Hall of Fame College Football. You know, we got Kchris from the Horns Down Pod, Mr. Mason from Sooners 360. Welcome into the show, gentlemen. How we doing?
It's 2 days until football, so it's great.
Yeah. I'm excited about that myself. Guys, we had a bombshell dropped on. I mean, we've been hearing for weeks how the SEC wasn't going to go to 9-game schedule unless a 9-game conference schedule, unless they were getting some concessions. Today, they went to a 9-game conference schedule. What are you thinking about this, Chris?
Well, like you, I mean, there's been some stuff going around that it looked like the 8-game schedule was going to lock in Kentucky and some other folks locking in out of conference games. So I'm surprised by this, but ESPN's spending a lot of money right now on baseball and picked up wrestling, picked up the WWE as well, spent money there, and I guess they're balancing their books and found more money for the SEC for an extra game because it looks like it's an extra $5 million for every team. So, and maybe they got the word back that the college football playoff people are ready to agree to the automatic qualifiers for the SEC as part of this. So I'm surprised a little bit. I thought we were like another year away from maybe this being this the 2 years of 8-game schedules. But I'm not so with the money involved and ESPN striking the deal and perhaps sweetening it down the road. I'm not shocked that Sankey got this deal done, but I do think we are waiting for the other shoe to drop about the college football playoff.
Fair enough. Okay, Chris.
So I'll just jump in here and say I'm glad Chris Mason went first because to me, hey, it's a non-issue. Just adding another game to our schedule or whatnot. Hopefully, we can get some really good opponents. Hopefully, for our Texas fans, shout out to Ben G is in the chat, but hopefully our Texas brethren down there, they can actually get a real schedule now. So with that being said, whether it's Georgia, whether it's Florida or whoever the hell they want to put us in there with, Vandy, I guess you can put them in that boat now, but you kind of want to play them all, right? That's a part of coming to the SEC. But again, with the SEC, to me, if there's anything that I would say is noteworthy about the move is that now, until there's more expansion, hopefully there's not more expansion of the playoffs, but until there is, this now kind of puts you in that boat where you say, hey, if a team in the SEC goes 9-3, they're going 9-3 during a 9-game. You get what I'm saying? So not only that, but they have to play a high quality opponent. That's already pretty much in stone, right? For a lot of conferences or whatnot. So that's not necessarily whoa or shock factor, but
but here's the thing, though. You've had the narrative around the country has been that the SEC is padding their schedule, which we know is bullshit. But until you have the same amount of conference games as everybody else, that was going to be the narrative. I mean, we've watched Indiana go out there and load up their fucking schedule with a bunch of FCS and G5 teams all the way through 2032 or whatever it is. So, I mean, is it going to make some changes there? Are we going to start seeing some differences where we're going to get some good non-conference games? So, and to me, I think for the SEC side of it, it was big on preserving rivalries, right? Preserving rivalries. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, the other shoe to drop is what does this do to the college football playoffs organization, and who are OU's 3 permanent opponents going to be? I mean, obviously, everybody would be stupid not to make Texas one of them. Kyle Dupree says Texas, LSU, Arkansas.
Never happened.
I'm not sure I'm not sure you want LSU and Texas as your permanent opponents. If you guys ever seen the way they choose? And I know this is a little bizarre reference. Have you ever seen the way they choose the groups for the World Cup? They spin these like lottery balls around,
sure.
but they guarantee that you're getting one team from like the top 10 of FIFA, right? And then you're guaranteed to get one team from like 10 to 30, and then you're guaranteed to get like one team from Africa, the African Soccer Organization, then one team from the Asian Soccer Association. So basically, they have a way of balancing the groups that you don't have Germany and Spain in the same group, right? You don't have Germany and Brazil and Spain in a group, and then you have one group that has like the U.S., South Korea, Australia, and Cameroon. They have a way of balancing it. So
right.
So I just want to make sure that's what we get, right? We have a way that they are balancing the schedules. Now they have 9 games. You get 3 permanent opponents, and you've got 6 other games that you can rotate. So everybody gets a balanced schedule. Right. As much as we want OU to have all the crappy teams next year because we feel like we deserve it, which we do, but
it's not going to happen.
I just want balanced schedules, right? Balance the schedules and redo that balance every 4 years, right?
It's never going to be balanced for Oklahoma.
But like I said, but in our permanent opponents, we should have one shitty opponent, one medium opponent, and one top tier opponent, right? And for better or worse, right now Texas represents that top tier opponent. We should get a Vandy or Mississippi State or Arkansas, right. And we should get a South Carolina, Ole Miss, Auburn, Florida, whatever's in the middle range. But we shouldn't end up with like frickin' Texas, LSU, Bama, and Bama as our 3 teams. That's just ridiculous. So that's just my thought on it, is that I just want to see that you've got the ability to now balance things out and make sure everyone has a tough schedule, and then every 4 years you can shake those balances up because you'll have 4 years of football to analyze. Do it like the NFL and spin it around. Everyone will have played each other, and then break it up again. And if you want to break up the 3 permanent teams and make some adjustments there, do that too. So, just leave the rivalry. Let's be honest, guys. We only have one rival. It's Texas. We don't have any other rivalries in the SEC. Texas has 2, but I'm sure they'd be happy to keep us and lose A&M. And A&M doesn't really want to play Texas every year either. Those 2 guys don't really want to play each other.
First off, let's stop playing in fantasy world here. Texas and Texas A&M are not going to not play every year. That's it. That's how it's going to be. It's going to be A&M. It's going to be Arkansas, and it's going to be Oklahoma. That's who Texas gets. Now, that's it. Look, they didn't play for 12 years. There's no way that they go back to that where they're not playing anymore. Now, I know A&M would love that to happen. The Texas legislature is not going to allow it to happen, if anything.
But they don't have that kind of control over it.
There's way too much money over it.
Well, but regardless, so I just want to see some sense of balance and some intelligence used.
Well, hold on. But hold on though. You got to think about this for a second, Mr. Mason. You're getting 6 and 6. You're playing everybody now. Now in a 4-year period, you will play home and away at everybody in the conference.
Right. But I want a balance
It's
where
never going to be fully balanced, man.
But it can be better than what we have right now.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Is just a sense of let's put the teams into tiers and give everybody a team from the you get it's like like the old Chinese menu, one from column A, one from column B, one from column C.
The way they came to the conclusion before, most of this already came from Ross Dellinger 2 years ago. We were talking about it. Dellinger talked about that they did do that. They were on a 10-year scale of what did you do in the last 10 years.
And I think they need to kill that and just do the last 5.
Okay, the last 5. Maybe they do. But in any event, if you look at what Mizzou has been up until the last couple of years, and they haven't really done a whole lot, but Mizzou, there's your cupcake. Florida hasn't done anything in a while, not since 2020. Have they been any good? They haven't been. I mean, it's a fact. They've won 6 games, and then they won 7 last year.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the SEC title game in 2020.
2020.
Yeah, that's right.
2021, they weren't good. 2022, it was 6 and 6. Then they went 7 and 5 last year, which was a miracle in my opinion. And then now, but they haven't been great. So that'll be your mid-tier. It's going to be Florida, or it could be LSU, but they're looking at Texas as a mid-tier program because even in the last 5 years, now they've been, they went 8 and 5, then they won 12 games the last 2 years. Maybe that bumps them up. But if they stay on the 10-year tip, Texas is going to be your middle tier. That's why you're going to get maybe LSU instead of Florida, and you're going to have Missouri. That's who they want them to have. They don't even give a shit about the tier system. They don't, because you're going to play everybody every other year anyway.
Yeah, but again, you're right. But I just want to see it. I just want to see something that indicates that there is some active balancing of schedules. That's not this 10-year nonsense. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, hold your breath. I wouldn't hold it.
Is it too much that I just want to play freaking Mississippi State, Vandy, Kentucky, and Arkansas next year?
Yes, it is. It probably is. What do you think there, Kchris, about this?
Like I told you guys, I think it kind of is what it is. At some point, you were going to go to this. This was the inevitable part of it, and the whole thing is that it's merit on both sides of the argument. I get what you're saying, Chris Mason, but at the end of the day, some of these teams are going to come back down to earth, right? Mississippi State's of the world with Dak Prescott, being number 1 in the nation or whatnot. Ole Miss, doing their thing and all the rest of that stuff. Eventually, some of these teams come back to kind of middle earth at the very least, right? So thing is, you never know year to year how it's really going to play out. Like this year right here, I'm sure that we're going to see a bunch of teams in that top 10 kind of come out, and all 3 of us, I think that we could end up being right about some of these top 10 teams as far as where they finish at in the middle of the season, right? So not everybody, even though NIL is exploding or whatnot, we do realize there's some rules and regulations that are definitely coming, and then everybody else is not necessarily Texas Tech, right? The oil money and this and that. So it's a lot of things that have to go. But to me, one thing I would say also, just to kind of hopefully end this topic so we can move on to some of our better topics, but with this one here, I would literally say I think that ninth game or whatnot should give you at least some comfort, because it helps you be able to schedule another quality opponent on your schedule just in case that high quality opponent out of conference opponent is not necessarily good. Go back to 2018. You guys had me thinking about this. Go back to 2018 when we played UCLA. We thought that would be a pretty good game. We thought that'd be a pretty good team, but
Chip
They
Yeah.
basically had an overhaul with Chip Kelly, DTK, or the Kelly kid or whatever his name was. That was the quarterback there as a freshman. Hell, Kyler and all the rest of them. I mean, our team looked overpowered compared to theirs. So for me, I mean, it's just one of those things where you may get a dud sometimes. Especially scheduling out so far with some of these teams because you may schedule an Oregon, and Oregon is starting all freshmen all over the place because they're having to basically reload, rebuild, or whatever they want to call it that year, right? So it's just one of those things you kind of have to look out for.
Texas ATM will immediately start exploring a jump to the Big Ten. I don't believe that that's the case, and that's where I promise you the legislature would step in the way of that one. They're not letting them separate again. That's not going to go down. What a weak sauce move that would be on the part of Texas A&M anyway. Not that it wasn't already. At least they were going to the SEC, but now you're going to jump to the Big Ten because you're afraid of Big Brother? Come on, bro.
I think Sammy's having a joke there, but yeah, you're right.
He probably is. But would it surprise you, though? Because they've been bitching. They're the ones that leaked all the information about Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC to begin with. They were trying to get it nipped in the bud before, and it backfired on them, but they're going to bitch and complain. They're always going to bitch and complain. They're not going to stop playing. They're not going to stop playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we'll see. We'll see we'll see what they consider rivalries and what they don't. So
it's not actual pods. That's not what they're going to. It's the 3-6-6 model. You have your Oklahoma. If it is what Ross Dellinger said it is for Oklahoma 2 years ago. Now this was 2 years ago, and things could have changed. But if it is what Oklahoma was supposed to be 2 years ago, it will be Texas, Missouri, Florida, which means you're going to the swamp every other year. That's not a pod. The pod system, they're trying to keep it regional and all that shit. They don't care about that. What they care about is saving the longest going rivalries in the SEC, which Auburn and Georgia, longest rivalry in the history of the South. It's the oldest one. So they're going to continue playing that game. Obviously, Florida has to go ahead and play Tennessee, and then they don't really have Georgia, they're going to continue.
LSU was their permanent rivalry.
Did they announce any? They haven't announced any permanent rivals yet. No, okay,
they haven't. But I mean, I'm saying in the past when they did the whole East-West thing, and you got one rival from the other division.
Yeah,
LSU was Florida's one rival.
Well, but see, here's what I would tell you though. When they started talking about this, and Dellinger talks to all these guys, so it sounded to me like he got it from Sankey because Nick Saban was throwing a shit fit that it was going to be Auburn still, Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. He was like, what the fuck? He didn't want to keep playing LSU. He wanted to, be able to have that third cupcake. That's not going to happen. I think that I tend to wonder though, because Tennessee and Florida have a rivalry. And if you're going to continue playing Georgia and you're going to continue playing Tennessee, what about, I guess that's their only two. It'd either be us or LSU, I guess, for Florida. But I don't know. I don't mind it. The swamp sounds fine to me every other year. I think it's a good rivalry. They talk a lot of shit. I wouldn't mind if it was Tennessee. But I feel like it's probably going to be one of those. We're not going to know that for a while. In the end,
December is what they're leaking. They'll leak it. They're going to announce it in December, so it'll leak a couple of weeks before that, probably.
For sure.
Soften the ground.
My main thing is I want the Big Ten, and I'm talking to you, Penn State, right now. Shut the fuck up now. You don't have to continue talking about this 9 games versus your cupcakes. You guys are playing 2 teams all year that are worth the shit. That's it. So now you don't, and I think that they probably did cave a little bit, but you know why? Because the one thing that you cannot have is for everybody in the country to sit here and be able to say that you're gaming the system. It doesn't look good for ESPN. It doesn't look good for the SEC. So you need to go ahead and do it. And now you get to play. I was pro 9 games no matter what, but I think it's hilarious when you've got Indiana and Nebraska doing what they're doing that they would say anything, and USC out there dodging freaking Notre Dame and shit, 100-year rivalry and stuff, and they're getting away from it. No, I don't want to hear another thing. The SEC is the toughest conference in the country. They play the toughest schedule in the country. Get ready, because now they're going to get their playoff teams, and you're not going to be able to say shit. Any adds to that?
Nope, I'm ready to do some predicting.
Yeah.
Prediction time. Yeah, man. I'm excited about it myself. We've been working pretty hard on some of this stuff, and obviously, let's see. We'll take a look at, what was the first one? Yeah, let's predict our. Hold on a minute. I'm missing something here. All right. Let's talk. Okay, Chris, take over for a second. What do you want to talk about? Let me give me a second to start fix something.
Podcast, Hall of Fame college football podcast with Jason and the coach, and of course, we got Mr. Sooners 360 himself. Man, what is there to talk about? Oh, I already know. So I think pretty much what we'll probably do next is probably our predictions or whatnot, just kind of for this roster, to kind of internalize that as far as like who we think the offensive MVP and all the rest of that stuff will be. Who I think is kind of obvious what you're thinking. Kchris Mason, let me ask you a question real quick. Let's just have a bold prediction since we're doing predictions tonight.
Sure.
Do you see John Mateer ending up in New York at the end of the season?
No.
Why is that?
Because I think Jaden Ott is going to split the OU vote.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
That's my bold take for you right there.
I'm not too sure I'm ready. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
I gotta disagree with you on that just a little bit, simply because Dede had a hell of a year, and both he and Baker made it that year. So I would think that if everything is going right for OU, I think they both would be there. But at the very least, I think he'll be there.
Did Jay White and AD make it in 2004?
So what?
Did Jay White and AD make it in 2004? Were they both in New York? Nope. So I think Baker was way more established than Mateer is right now. Yep. Coming in for 2016.
We will see. The hype is there.
I'm going with that's my bold take.
Ott would have to rush for he'd have to put up some pretty ridiculous numbers, which I'm not saying that he can't, but he would have to put up some pretty ridiculous numbers, because I think it's going to be a very tight race. This is a year where I could really see it coming down to being really, kind of what it's always been, which is just a popularity award. These last couple of years, I think we have named like the clear-cut best player in the nation, but I think this is one of those years where it's more of a diva award than it is anything else.
Okay. You asked for a bold take. I gave you a bold take.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm cool with that. I get that. I don't necessarily agree with it. Well, here's the thing. I feel like if Mateer's not in New York, at least as a finalist for the Heisman, Oklahoma's probably not doing what I think we're about to predict.
Just to emphasize on my bold take, part of the bold take is Ott has, like 300-400 yards receiving. He has maybe he has a couple of kickoff returns. His total yardage is one of those. His AP yards are high. It's not just rushing the ball. His AP yards are high. That Mateer finds him out of the backfield a lot, and I've trademarked this, so don't steal it. Ott in the slot is going to be a weapon. Ott in the slot. That's what I'm going to trademark that. When you see that on bumper stickers, T-shirts, and hats, you know that it's all part of my industrial empire. Ott in the slot.
Ott in the slot. I like it. Well, as you guys can see, I've got the Oklahoma schedule up here. Let's predict this before we start predicting, who's going to be the award winners. We might as well start off with predicting the schedule. I don't think anybody we can just skip past Illinois State. Obviously, they're going to win that game. Do they win the Michigan game as far as you're concerned, Kchris?
Yes, I in my heart of hearts, I believe that we win that game. I think we busted open. We busted wide open. If you know, you know. But we busted wide open to start. I think we kind of paused a little bit through the middle. I think we finished it off. Probably about 2 scores on that one for sure.
Okay. Mr. Mason?
Yes, beat Michigan close into the fourth quarter. Mateer puts a drive that puts the game away, something like 10-point win, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way. I think that it's if it's a different time of the year, end of the year, something like that, then maybe we're hearing a different story. I feel like no matter how good Bryce Underwood is or is going to be, he's not going to, this is essentially your first true game at all because they're playing a cupcake in week 1, too. On the road, playing against a Brent Venables defense with this kind of a defensive line, I feel like they may stay around for a while because they have an elite defense. But at some point, you got to score or else the dam breaks. And I think Oklahoma probably wins by at least 2 touchdowns. Moving on. Temple, nobody's got a problem with Temple being a win. Obviously, Auburn is next. Maybe Jackson Arnold, maybe not Jackson Arnold. Hey, Chris?
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and say I think this is going to be one of our tougher games. Not because I think that Jackson Arnold is going to come up here and light it up, but I think they're going to have a really good game plan. The question is how long can they stay within that game plan? I think that Hugh Freeze had a great scheme for OU last year as far as how to try to attack them. It was more dink and dive kind of West Coast offense, just really short plays, just trying to move those sticks. We played a lot of cushion as well. We were injured on that on the DB front as well. So hopefully this year, if everything holds up, we should be fine being able to play and show different looks, different mini games over there with our DBs for sure. So we should be able to be physical with those wide receivers because they're going to have a hell of wide receivers. So the question for me, I think it's a thing of I think Hugh Freeze really shines that day. I think he has a good day out there at the on the field as far as kind of scheming all those things together. Obviously, I know they have like a plethora of offensive coordinators, but I think that he will put his imprint on that. I think they'll try to play a controlled game, try to slow it down, and definitely take what's there, but then they'll try to push it down the field as much as they can. So with that being said, I still got OU winning. I think it'd just be a really interesting game of how they win, simply because I think Hugh Freeze will make it a little bit difficult. And plus, that Auburn defense is pretty good. So we shall see.
Okay. Mr. Mason?
I think if OU can block the Kendrick Falk kid, if they can block that defensive end, if they can at least get somebody blocking him, the rest of the Auburn D-line is not as good as it was. I think Auburn's going to slip a little bit on defense. Offensively, they're going to obviously step up a little bit, but I like OU by again. I think this is why we paid the big money for John Mateer. Again, fourth quarter drives. He's going to put the game away, and we know that either a true freshman in McKnight or the Stanford guy who's not very good or Jackson Arnold are going to make a fourth quarter mistake like they did, like we've seen happen, and that's going to allow OU to put the game away.
I think Jackson Arnold, I would be surprised if he's still the starter from what we continue to hear out of Auburn. We'll see what happens, but I have a hard time believing that. Look, if he does make it to Norman, we know how afraid of this defense he was. Somebody asked me a question yesterday, and I wanted to bring this up today, though, was a lot of times if you are a quarterback and you've been somewhere, the defense, it could be you could consider it a help that he knows and he's seen this defense before. It could be, it's a scouting thing. I struggle to see it, but go ahead. Do you guys think that, it may be any kind of an advantage for them that he was at Oklahoma?
he could give Freeze some clues about how to, about some tendencies that he noticed with Brent, if he even noticed any. Um, yeah, I mean, he could, some scouting, some snap counts, and some tendencies and signals and stuff like that. But I mean, the offense has changed so much, and I, you know, the defense. Yeah, I mean, I guess he could impart some wisdom on some stuff he thinks about the defense that Hugh then could take and say, oh, okay, I can pull something out of what Jackson's telling me, but I don't
Sure.
think it's a lot. And obviously, I don't think he can help us. He can't help at all with, oh yeah, we did this on offense. He can't help the Auburn defensive staff with what
Oh,
OU's
for sure
doing,
on
right?
that. Oh
At,
yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, what it really boils down to, in my opinion, is just can he let it rip? I mean, it's really on Jackson of how far he wants to go. Can he get back? I mean, can he get back to that gunslinger that we saw down there in the Arizona game? Right. Obviously, that game didn't go our way, but you saw at times you kind of saw him grow up during that game. As far as just like, hey, next play is the next play. Got to keep, stay positive. Got to keep it going. So the kid has an arm. The kid can throw. The kid can do all the things. But the problem has always been just right here between his ears. So he has to get up out of his own way, and he has to actually let it rip. Because there probably will be times where Cam Coleman and guys like that are winning their one on ones, but he's going to have to be able to step up and find those guys, right? It's not going to be necessarily a thing of him being able to use his legs an awful lot. I'm sure there's going to be spots in different games that he's going to have to be accounted for. So the like I said, just to end this one, Jackson has to show that he has progressed as a quarterback, meaning that he's not a one read and go guy, and two, that he will actually let it rip, because teams are only going to not load the box, not play tight coverage if you're not afraid to air it out. So I mean, it's really on him. I mean, you can
Well,
kind
and
of
you're right, because they got Kevin Singleton, they got Cam Coleman, they got weapons. If he stops being a scared little guy, that it could be a problem. Now, do I see him doing that? I'm not really, because we haven't seen it yet, and we've seen that he's struggling. I think that Dave Aranda's probably going to do the same thing to him in week 1 on Friday night. He could lose his job by Saturday morning. I don't know that. I would almost rather he did show up, but it feels. I the longer we go on hearing the things that we continue to hear, the less I think we're going to see him under center when
hey
they.
man, next Friday, hopefully you guys got it already tuned in. Next Friday we get a taste to see exactly what's going to go on there. That's the beautiful part of this early part of the season. It's not everybody's going to be able to hide and just run vanilla stuff. Like, you got to actually go out there day one and get it. So yeah,
Yeah, I
what's
agree
the
with
next
that.
game?
Yeah, next game you got your first open week. Then you got Kent State, which is basically back-to-back buys. They won one game last year. They didn't even fire their coach until like February. There was some weird stuff going on there that I think he had some credit problems or something, and they fired him. But they were bad. It's going to be bad. Now, the week after that, obviously, here you go, Dallas, October 11th. They're coming off of a week in the swamp, where Oklahoma's coming off of Kent State. What say you, Kchris?
Hey, look, I'm gonna go ahead and let it hang, man. I think that we get Texas this year. I think it's. I mean, enough said. We can sit here and talk with them and laugh at them. Bevo the clown and Benji and all of them. My friend BG, but all I would say is this right here. I think we get them this year. I think that at the end of the day, that they're. I mean, hey, they're a talented squad. They have certain things that we're gonna like, but to me, it's gonna be one of those things um, of how good is Arch, right? Kind of goes back to the quarterback. I think the defense is gonna play pretty well. Michael Taff is still there, which to me I think is anyways. I just go on the limb of saying that, hey, we get back into that winners column this year for sure. Plus, again, the last couple of times that we've lost to them, and they can say we lost big in this, that we didn't really have a quarterback. Any time that we've had a quarterback, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Chris Mason.
I'm going to predict a Texas win in a absolute classic battle with an all-time ref fucking screw job on the Sooners, letting Texas win somehow.
Oh,
All-time screw job. It's who's the guy who slid out of the end zone in '84 with this interception? Keith Stansberry, is that right?
Yes.
Keith Stansberry
Stansberry. Yes.
type screw job. We're gonna have won that game and get absolutely raw dog screwed by the fucking refs in Dallas.
I found that offensive, sir.
If you take your top lip and connect it to your bottom lip, you will shut the fuck up.
I got to tell you, that shit ain't going to happen. They're going to beat the brakes off these guys this year. Look, it's been a long time since they've won 2 in a row. We know that there's a lot of guys missing it. There's a lot of reports coming out of freaking Texas that the offensive line isn't quite what it's cracked up to be. Kyle Flood not really getting it done, or they're not getting it done somehow. Look, I think that they're going to be good. I don't know that I'm buying all the 7-5, 8-4 talk. I love to troll as much as the next guy when it comes to Texas. I'm telling you this, they're not going to win this game. I would be really surprised if they don't have a couple of losses already. At minimum, they're going to have one. They're going to get another one. Again, Oklahoma basically has 2 weeks to prepare for them. They've got actually shit because they got a bye. Then they got Kent State. That's back-to-back buys while they get, they're going to go to the swamp. If they win that game and they only have one loss coming in, OU still wins it. I'm more concerned about the next week whenever you got to, and I'm not concerned about South Carolina, but that placement where you have to be on the road the week after Red River. We've seen Oklahoma kind of, have a bit of a hangover from that game, even from wins in the past. So that would be my concern. We'll talk about what the records end up being, but go ahead.
So, hey, all I'm gonna jump in here and say is right here. I say it every year. If you see me with Fanatic Perspective, you see me with Nino's Corner, you see me on my channel especially. I say it every single year. 2 things that you have to do, okay? You have to, 1, make Sark go past the last play on his of his script, right? Get him out of that script. Second thing, you have to take the cute shit away. You can't let him sit there and hit you with 30 reverses. Can't let him get that little, screenplay that he does with the running back. You have to show him, I have a counter for all your counters. All the little stuff that you want to do that you like to do when you get cute, I'm going to force you to use that when you get at the goal line because that's when you struggle. Those are the reasons why they have those goal line stances. He likes to get cute. Even though he has weapons,
in the red zone, he gets cute. They have one of the worst red zone offenses ever last year.
When you get to crunch time and you force him to actually coach the game, that's whenever you start seeing chinks in the armor, right? So you have to get past that script and you have to take away the cute shit. This year right here is a year where you say Sark has a mobile quarterback, so you're going to have to be disciplined on that outside. That offside DN or whatnot is going to have to be brilliant. He's going to have to understand, hey, look, this mofo may take off. They're running an RPO-based offense, so you have to take away that stuff. Make Sark dink and dive down the field. Get him in predictable scenarios, which you've been able to do. Okay, you start off that game last year with an interception and like on the second or third play. 14-3, 7-3 for the longest. That game was tight going into the second half until it
9 straight 3-and-outs, Kchris.
Exactly. So, the whole thing is that it's not necessarily that Texas is just all that much better. It's just the fact that you have been depleted in certain areas, especially last year. We could talk about the injuries and this and that, but screw it. It was last year. It happened. But that's what I say every year. You do those 2 things right there. Take the cute shit away. Make him work make him work the actual playbook instead of just the script. You're fine. When Sark can just rely on that script the whole time and be able to dink and dive and then go back to the script, that's whenever Texas is the most dangerous, simply because he hasn't even hit you with the full arsenal. He's over here toying with you simply because you can't stop that stuff, or you're not disciplined. You won't be able to stop it. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. And, if you can't move the football sooner or later, it's just what we were just got done saying about the Michigan game. If you can't win the football, if you can't move the ball, you can't score, sooner or later, the best defenses break.
Yeah.
They do. So, and, you think about some of the things that happened in that game. They had a fumble that Danny led up on just a little bit, and they ended up with the touchdown instead of, Oklahoma getting the ball back in that situation. There are a lot of little things that happen, but the last year absolutely does not matter, folks. You guys, you are in the hundreds in returning production, and we're acting like you're the same team. It's wild. I can't wait to watch you fall back to earth, and then the meltdown will ensue from guys like Dookie Price here and old Bevo's bodyguard. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, the whole thing is they said they're keeping receipts. So are we.
Oh,
Trust me.
yeah. Yeah.
All right, next game.
Yeah, next game. It's as I said, South Carolina. I don't love Beamer. I don't love this team. I really like Lenore Sellers. 9 guys are missing from that defense that led them last year. I'm not buying all the hype about this football team, but it is a concern. This is that trap game or, letdown game because of the game that you just played. The concern, I think this could be your first L if you're Oklahoma. If I had to lean on any of them, because I don't think much of Tennessee. Ole Miss is coming to Oklahoma. They should have beat them in their house last year. I think this is probably one of your losses. So it's not because I think South Carolina is good. I think if you're going to lose one that you shouldn't lose, it's this one. But we'll see kind of where it ends up.
I'm gonna jump in here. I'm gonna say this right here. I think this is a 17, 12, 17, 14 type of game right here. 11 o'clock. Not necessarily sure who South Carolina plays before that week that they play. The week before they play us, I think they play a decent opponent.
I want to say it's LSU, but I don't.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
something like that. So I think it's an 11 a.m. game, which honestly that helps a lot as well, to where you're not just sitting around. Maybe you would like to have a little bit extra rest, but maybe by that time we have sprinkled in maybe a Jaden Gibson, or we're getting a heavy dosage of Giovanni Gibson as well. So to me, I think that's kind of a seesaw game. I'm gonna lean OU's way, but I think that's a seesaw game to where you could have some type of 17-14 debacle right there.
Yeah, it's a concern for me. I'm not saying that for sure. I haven't been picking this South Carolina all offseason. I don't believe in South Carolina at all. I think the chances are, though, until I see them get to 10 wins, I'm not going to pick 10 wins. So this is where I feel like you could have a drop-off here, particularly being undefeated up until that point.
Yeah.
I think it's just I think it's ripe for that situation. I still think they may win it, but I need to see them do it. It's a road game.
This could be a UFC type of day. I mean, a UCF type of day.
It could be, and you're on the road too.
I'm having a pissed off OU team from the outrage in Dallas, from the theft in Dallas. I see Kendall Daniels knocking Lenora Sellis out of the game when he tries to run the ball run the ball. Daniels is going to light him up, knock him out, and I have OU going to Columbia coming out with a win. Then they're now 6-1.
Okay. I would have them at 6-1 or 7-0. So yeah, but
you got to choose. You got to choose one.
I got 7-0.
Okay, I'll figure that they are going to lose that game, or I mean, yeah, they're not losing to Texas. So sure, I'll do that one.
All right.
Ole Miss.
All right, I'll say win. I think we should have beat them last year.
Yeah.
Ole Miss was not going to be the same caliber of team. Even if Austin Simmons is slinging the ball, their defense is not going to be anywhere near as good, especially in the secondary and up front. And I have OU beating Ole Miss in Norman. John Mateer has a big day, and the defense keeps Simmons, on his back foot, keeps him off. Our front four has a big day, keeping Simmons confused, and OU comes away. and are now
Long day
seven
for
and
the red
one.
shirt, huh? Long day
They're,
for the red shirt.
yep, and they're now 7-1.
Okay. Okay, Chris.
Hey, I second Chris Mason on that.
Yeah, I'm not buying into. I think that Lane Kiffin is a really good coach. I mean, when you're expecting to win 9 or 10 games at Ole Miss, they never do that. So the fact that he's got them to that level, I think he's really good. I don't think that they should have beaten Oklahoma last year, and it was the worst Oklahoma offense in the world that we've ever seen. So yeah, Ole Miss takes one on the chin here. We're back on the road the next week against Tennessee.
I'll jump in here on Tennessee. So here is my thing. I think this is probably where I would part ways with my winning ways. I think that I say tough game. I think Joey Aguilar probably has the game of his life. That game, I don't think that I don't think he puts up like monster numbers, but I think he has the game of his life against OU as far as just being consistent the entire game. I think it's one of those things where we come out there, and I think defensively this may be where we kind of have maybe just a little bit of a letdown, just probably being too stubborn at 3-man front, right? I think we can get the job done, we can get home, but it's a game where I'm just like, okay, is that do we run out there with the same style of defense that we ran last time, right? Because we kind of went to that kind of like damn near a 3-4 look last year almost in that game. That was what was successful against it. I was surprised not everybody else ran that. I mean, Arkansas ran it to perfection almost the very next week when they upset them. So
Yeah.
you're kind of wondering like, hey, is that the recipe, right? Kind of running that 3-4, 3-3-5 type look, putting extra DBs out there to try to, just say, hey, you want to spread the field, that's perfectly fine, but we're going to be there. Give you all types of look, disguise these zones and these man coverages or whatnot, and kind of run a little bit of both. So this is one of them games where I think it's just a weird game, weird day, and we just, hey, yeah.
I think the opposite. We go to Tennessee and win, and mainly because I think the Tennessee game last year showed me that Brent has a handle on this offense. He knows how to defend this. He's kind of got the keys to that. Whatever Lebby told him, whatever he saw Lebby doing, he's kind of got that scheme down, and he knows how to defend it. And last year, obviously, if it wasn't for some of the turnover problems we had and some of the inefficiencies on offense, that Tennessee, and I just don't see Tennessee's having offensive line problems. And I don't think Aguilar is a great fit for what they're doing. And they're missing the running back who was so good last year, who we basically shut down with a better offensive line and with no offense on our side helping us. So I think Brent has Heupel's number in what he's running offensively, and that's going to let OU win a close game. But they'll go into Rocky Top and win, and maybe we have a little bit of Mateer Baker like action going on in the fourth quarter.
I don't see this as being that close. I don't think that Tennessee's near as good as what they were last year. They're still decent on the defensive side. They're worried, concerned about their best secondary guy is already hurt, and it doesn't sound like it's getting, it doesn't sound like it's an injury that he's just going to be healthier throughout the year. Look, I didn't like him with Nico. I really don't like him without him, especially when you don't have Dylan Sampson anymore. Oklahoma
and their wide receiver core is all banged up too, and they don't have any. They're missing guys there.
They did get that receiver that was, had all those charges for like traffic charges or whatever. He's going to be back apparently. But I'm telling you, I don't think that Tennessee's very good. I struggled to understand why they're ranked at the moment. I don't see this one being the loss. They get through that one. They're now 8-1 for me. Open week, then on the road, Alabama. Homecoming in Tuscaloosa, Kchris. How disrespectful is that to you?
Jason, I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give you a snapshot of what I'm thinking. I think win, and I think loss. I had us going 10-2 this year, so I think you can switch out the Bama or LSU game. One of those games is going to be the tougher of the two. and it very well may be at the Bama game. I think that could be our toughest game of the year. Um, kind of think that you have Heisman moments throughout, but maybe that's the Heisman moment for Mateer that seals the deal. I think he does something that gets us over that hump down there in Tuscaloosa. I am not necessarily convinced about Ty Simpson. He is, talking to our guy, Ty Hayes. Shout out to Ty Hayes, Round the Table Sports. Shout out to that guy.
I
But
hate.
he was not ashamed of all of men in the fact, again, I go to that conversation all the time, but I ask him, it's like, hey, what's wrong? What do you think is wrong with Jackson? What do you think is wrong with like the Jaden Davis kid or whatever the kid's name is, the kid that's backing up Bryce Underwood at Michigan? He's like, man, a lot of these kids are one read quarterbacks. He said, hell, Ty Simpson struggles with that. So, the thing is that you have to hope that Grubb being
Read
there,
half the field, whatever.
yeah, being able to, just let it rip. Like some of these guys, I think that's what's keeping a lot of these guys away from being as great as they could be. Is just, that gunslinger mentality or whatever they had of it has kind of just gone away. So they have to figure out how do I unlock that again. So again, that Bama game, I think that's where Mateer has that real Heisman moment that seals it for us.
I'm going to go with the second loss. Again, a great game of the year kind of game. Just fantastic atmosphere, just game of the year kind of game. But the Sooners come up a little short, but under no circumstances are you walking away from the Bama game going, same old Brent, same old team with a road loss. It's like, no, we just went 15. We just went 15 rounds. We just came up short in the fourth quarter. Someone made a big play. Someone makes a mistake, but it's a ESPN kind of classic game.
I will say this, and I agree with you. I think this is going to be a great football game. The week before, they're playing LSU.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's on a bye. This is ripe for an upset. If you're going to get one of these two teams out of the three, obviously in the last three of the year, particularly playoff life on the line. The more I look at this, I'm not ready to do it yet. I've been saying Alabama probably wins this game. They're pissed off. They got a chip on their shoulder about getting beat up. Not only did they get beat, they got the shit beat out of them. And really, had Michael Hawkins played, they probably win by 40 because they weren't moving the ball. And, he'd had 2 touchdowns where Jackson ran 20 yards. He's in the end zone on both of those. So, in the end, I just feel like, do I feel like Oklahoma could win this game? I do. I think it actually sets up pretty well. I do know this. You're not sneaking up on them for damn sure. They're pissed off. It probably is going to mean a lot for probably both playoff lives looking at that. So
we're all projecting OU walks in with one loss, right? They'll be 8-1, right? So
I've got them losing the game, but
it's gonna be a prime time.
It would not surprise me. This is another one of them that it would not surprise me if they win the football game.
Yeah, but if OU's 8-1 walking in and Bama's 8-1 too, this will be prime time. This will be like OU, Bama, both programs, the history. It'll be a game day kind of game. It'll be huge hype with it.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I've got them losing the game, but that's now 2 losses coming into it. I guess you've got a loss there. Okay, Chris, you got them winning or losing?
Winning.
Winning. Okay. Moving on. Mizzou coming to town. A lot of talk last year. A lot of talk from players, from parents, from shit. Drink was talking shit about Bob Stoops after the game. Venables wouldn't go shake his hand, wouldn't talk to his ass before or after the game. There's a little bit of bad blood here. Plus, they lost the game that they were ahead of. 2 minutes left. They went from winning to losing in regulation. I don't see this even being a game. They're going to beat the brakes off of Missouri.
By this time, we should know what these teams are really, really made of. We should kind of see. I mean, last year was one of those things where, Mizzou started off pretty hot, but towards the end of the season, it kind of faltered. Obviously, quarterback issues, different things like that. So we kind of have to see, is this new guy going to be the guy? I thought that they were playing week 0, but I know they play. I think they play early week 1, like Thursday or Friday, something like that. So we get to kind of see how explosive they are or whatnot, if they're still explosive. I mean, they lost, obviously, Theo Weiss, they lost Luther Burden, they lost, I think a lot of these teams have lost a ton of guys, fresh year starter, a lot of different things like that. So, yeah, I definitely got OU winning.
Yeah, I think OU comes off the Bama loss. They're 8-2. This is a home game. They got LSU coming up right after, which we'll get to. But I think OU's super motivated in this game. Brent gets the team ready. The team knows that objectives are right there for them, and they take care of LSU. They take care of Mizzou. Mateer's leadership on offense leads them over the top, with the Mizzou quarterback struggling quite a bit in Norman because their defense is, they're seeing ghosts. They're going to realize that the best Mizzou teams get their ass kicked in Norman. Ask Chase Daniels about that. And this is not a great Mizzou team.
Yeah, you kind of. I mean, they haven't even picked a quarterback yet, and they went and they went and pilfered away the backup from Penn State before the damn playoffs started, and they already don't like his ass enough. I mean, he hadn't even played a game yet, and they got a cupcake schedule. I think they're in trouble in more ways than one. It may be out of control by the time that game rolls around. I think they
week
have a
2
crappy schedule. Yeah,
quick week 2 lean. Go Jayhawks.
Oh yes, they got the squawk chicken hawk game there, huh?
That's right.
It's good stuff. Okay, well, that puts us into the last game. LSU. Oklahoma is winless against this program. They started off really good last year. They had Nussmeier and all kinds of help hurt him. He got a super shot whenever he went back, I guess. Something they gave him something because he turned into Superman when he got back. Is there any way that you see? I struggle. I mean, look, I like this receiving core. I think it's legit too. Again, I like Nussmeier. Now, Nussmeier's already had some lingering little injuries that I mean, again, you don't usually get healthier as the season gets longer if you're hurt in training camp. So it should be a concern there. I think my biggest concern, if I'm an LSU fan, which I'm not, number one, does BK figure out how to get them up for games, before, and not have them screw it up? Are they even in Hank said earlier that if they have a chance at the playoff, they'll blow it. I can see that. I can see that happening. I don't know that they'll have a chance at that point. They could play spoiler. That could be tough for Oklahoma. And listen, I need to see them win. Honestly, I feel like this is another one they could win. I think that Oklahoma can beat every team on the schedule. I feel like they're going to win. They're going to lose 3 games. This is be number 3 for me because they already beat Mizzou in my mind. I feel like that until I see them win 10, I'm going to say 9-3. And so it's got to be LSU here. And even though it's at home, I just feel like you've probably held serve at home up until this point, but I feel like they could probably lose this one. And maybe it's just a mental thing.
So, I'll jump in. I'll say right here. So, again, I had them going 10-2, so this would definitely have to be the one loss. So, I think that
You the second loss. You have them losing to Tennessee and
yeah,
LSU.
second loss. Yeah, go ahead. So, yeah, I'll just end it there. I think it'll be a close game, obviously, but I think that somehow they squeak out of here with that one.
Yeah, I have OU going 9-3 too. So I guess this is my 3rd loss, and I guess I'm just doing it. It's the only home game where I feel like the opponent may have an edge at quarterback, and we'll see how Nussmeier does this year. We'll see how his offensive line does, how his wide receiver core. But if you're talking just legit QB talent, head to head, Nussmeier is the only guy I think right now, preseason, who I would take over Mateer from the guys that OU are playing. I mean, if you're talking right now, I would take Mateer over Arch, over everybody else. But if you said, could you have Nussmeier instead? And I might be like, that's a debate to me in terms of that. So,
Yeah, I don't know that I feel that way at this point, but I have been saying that Nussmeier is definitely the best quarterback in the league coming in as far as what he can do. We do know that he does get a little
he has a chronic knee problem, right? That's what I
he
hear.
also throws the ball into tough situations.
Yeah, he also can melt down a little bit. So yeah, I mean, again, I just like like you said, like Kchris said, I think if the offense is moving the ball as we think it's going to be able to, OU's in every game they play. I think it'll be a tough fourth quarter game against LSU, and maybe Nussmeier makes just one big pass. Last year he blitzed our secondary and was really the only guy to really do that, right? In the second half of the season, once Eli Bowen got in there, our secondary was really pretty solid at cornerback and was really solid. I mean, he was the only guy to really blitz us last year. So maybe I'm having a little of PTSD from that, but I'm going to go. That's a loss to LSU. I had them losing to Texas, and I had them losing to Alabama. Those are my 3 losses. 9-3.
Yeah, that's where I got them too, 9-3. Yeah, that's where I think Kchris had them at 10-2. We got them at 9-3. I'm going to move on to this next scene. So obviously going through that, do they make the playoff at 9-3? I think it's going to depend on a lot of the other ones. I think you could have a few 9-3 teams in there. So tiebreakers could come into play there. I do think somebody probably makes it from a 9-3 team. OU's schedule should say it's them, but then again, if another one of those 9-3 teams you played against them, the results on the field have to matter. So I don't think it's a guarantee that they get to the playoff this year. I think 9-3 is certainly a good season, but I think you probably leave it feeling like you left something on the table there. I certainly don't see the 8-4, and I see Texas getting to 8-4. They're going to drop to 8-4. Bevo, you might be the dumbest guy in the world. OU's not a deep team. They're deep everywhere. What are you talking about? You literally watch all these Oklahoma shows and you don't learn anything?
Jason, his nickname is named for. I mean, why does a massive hunk of beef need a bodyguard anyway? I mean, it's not like he's guarding a panda. It's Bevo. It's a fucking massive cow. Just carve it up and cook it. So he doesn't need a bodyguard. He needs a chef. He should be Bevo's cook, the person who cooks Bevo. That's an intelligent nickname, not Bevo's bodyguard. That's stupid. Cows don't have bodyguards.
Well, he's definitely an ass clown.
What kind of nonsense is that? Why does a cow need a bodyguard? It's just stupid.
Yeah. Hey, you get no argument from here. You get no argument from me. All right, let's go to the Covered Wagon awards for the preseason. We'll start off obviously here and let's kind of go. Freshman of the Year for Oklahoma. As you can see, I got Tory Blaylock. We've heard unbelievable things about him the entirety of spring and now the fall as well. If Jaden Ott is, I think it's all just, precautionary. They don't want to overdo. They probably put him in bubble wrap for that matter. I still think that he may be the guy that ends up getting a lot of the run, that second team run. And if anything happens, I think he's going to have a big year because he's a playmaker. The guy is speed personified, home run threat. Love Tory Blaylock. I think he could very easily be the freshman of the year. Okay, Chris?
You're Mike.
Mike.
I'll jump in here and I'll just say, hey, I picked Michael Fasusi. Could have easily picked Foje as well. But I think that you'll see a big impact on the offensive line this year. I think it's going to be hard to keep those guys off the field. And then, again, just going back and watching the film, guys, just to see kind of what Arbuckle's wanting to do, not just to end the weeds, but Eichert and Lehman, which is always incredible. But just going back and watch some of those games real life, and you see some of the things that he wants to do, he wants to be able to do with that offensive line, especially in the run game. I think that getting bigger, faster, and just more athletic, more agile linemen on the field, I think that's going to present opportunities for him to be able to do some of those things. I think that this could be a year where you see Arbuckle play a lot of straight up and not necessarily have some of the more gimmicky stuff. Especially with, I'm still not the biggest fan of like the GT counter, but at the same time, if it's effective, it's effective. But he sets it up with that zone running scheme so well with how he's trying to do the stuff. But then again, you have to put in play that the RPO is there as well with material with his legs. So with that being said, yeah, I got Michael Fasusi. I think we see an impact on the offensive line this year from a true freshman.
Well, I'm going with the obvious stock, the super stock number 3 of the freshman. I'm going Elijah Thomas. You hear Emmett Jones talking about him, the beginning of the week, and just he can make big plays. He can take small throws to the house. I just think his yards per catch and big play quotient for a freshman are sky high.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I would have if one of you would have had Blaylock, I would have had Elijah Thomas. I think that he's been. I mean, they're saying that they could put his ass on defense if they wanted to. You know what I mean? I've even heard that this guy is a stud. For all the stuff that we hear out of Austin about how great Ryan is down there. I mean, he had one 100-yard game. So I think that you could easily see this kid eclipse anything that their boy did down there. And I think he's going to be a stud, man. I like him. I like him there too. I like Fasusi as well. A little concerned after him, the heat exhaustion that, maybe not, but we'll see. We'll see on that. I think he's a stud too. I mean, there's a reason he's a 5-star. There's a reason that they're gushing over him and Ryan Foji as well. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a guy like Cortland Guillory either.
He's probably number 4 of the stock, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back to this here. We'll go to the next one. Most improved player on the offensive side. I've got Ivan Carrion. I kind of went back and forth on a few things with this, but a couple of weeks ago we were asking, I hadn't heard a whole lot about Ivan Carrion. Next thing you know, he's catching everything. He doesn't drop anything, and the dude is 6 foot, almost 6'7". Love that. I think he's a big target that you needed to find a way. I remember I was talking to his parents at the Texas game last year, and they were like, why is he not playing? And all I could say was Seth Luttrell. That's all I could say. You know what I mean? I think that guys like John Mateer like big targets like this, and this guy is a stud. I could see him definitely being the most improved player, particularly offensively. Hey, Chris has got Zion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think me and Chris Mason I think he right now. I hope Carrion balls out this year. I really do. I think that to me and my uncle, when we talked about it, we need to flex him out, be able to flex him out as a tight end. He's that guy that could be that guy that you could flex out there to help in those spaces, especially around goal line situations, just to kind of stretch the defense a little bit more, or a red zone situation, excuse me. But that being said, I think Zion Kearney, man. I think Zion Kearney had a little bit of a coming out party. I think that at least a little bit of the script was influenced by a guy like Arbuckle last year. And I don't want to bring up that game, but the Navy game. But you saw Zion Kearney. Zion Kearney has shown promise. So I think this year right here, just hearing everything coming out of camp and all the rest of that stuff, he's a guy that I think that if the confidence is right, like they said, I think that the world could be his. I think that he could have a really big year and just be really consistent. He's that guy right now that I say, hey, just be what BV is looking for, which is just a guy that's consistent every game, like Keontez Lewis, guys like that. I think that he will find his way on the field, and I think that he will show why he was so highly touted coming out of high school.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Obviously, I agree with Kchris on this. And the other point I would have is I think Satania and Burks are kind of established as 1-2 at wide receiver. And I think Kearney is your big flanker to kind of go with them. And I think, while Giovanni's waiting to get ready and Lewis is a little banged up, I think Kearney's that big wide out that complements the other two, and that's why he gets a lot of play. Plus, apparently, he was out with the concussion protocol, and then just kind of finally cleared the waiting room for that, and just hit the field and was dominating again the other night. So I'll go with that's why I'm going with Zion Kearney. I just think physically he represents a different body type and skill set from Satania and Burks, who I think are going to be 1-2 in receptions and yards this year.
Okay. All right. Hey, thanks, Coach Carl. Thanks for coming in, my man. Good to see you. Let's see. All right. So moving along. Most improved player on the defensive side. Look, I've been waiting for this guy to get on the field. I can't wait. It's going to be great. I think that Danny Okoye is going to be a problem for everybody. I love both you guys' picks as well, but Danny Okoye is just, he may be the best athlete on the field. There's other guys that you could probably argue about that with, but this dude is the real deal. His motor is on high all the time. He hits with violence, and he is stupid fast. Love it. I think he's going to be great. I think it's going to be a great year for him.
So I'll jump in here and I'll say I picked Kendall Daniels simply because first off, coming off of what he did last year, I think this year could be a major jump for him. I think just being around this defense, being around this staff, I think is pretty infectious. What I'll say about Kendall Daniels is this right here is that I think coming out of high school, a lot of us saw him as a box safety, right? Let's just be real. I don't think we saw him really as a true safety or a true linebacker. He did both at OSU. Maybe he wasn't great at being a linebacker, a pure linebacker, switching, but there was a lot of things that went into that as far as what Nardo was trying to do down there at OSU from the get-go. I know Jason
and over his head, man.
Chris Mason, before we even really, started doing podcasts with you, I know Jason and I had both scratched our head a whole bunch on why would OSU switch to the 3-3-5, knowing some of the certain inabilities that they're going to have. So first year was decent, and the last year you were just like, I don't have any idea. And so it was hard playing because there's a lot of different things in that 3-3-5 that had to be accounted for. So you put an athlete like Kendall Daniels in a position where he has to think more. Now switching him to linebacker, you have to keep him on the field because he's one of your better athletes, one of your better players, if not your best player on the team, outside of like Otto or whatever his name was, the running back last year or whatnot. But essentially, Kendall Daniels, I think this year he's with a staff that understands him and that will force feed him enough to put him in certain scenarios where he could be a tweener as far as being a guy that can be a cover guy, but also a guy that can get there closer to the ball and be able to tag, be able to rush, quarterback, be able to help with the run game. I think he's a guy that, again, love McCullough. I thought McCullough, my hope was that he would be able to play the cheetah, but it just really didn't happen here, right? He was better being closer to the line of scrimmage. But this is a guy here that will not get caught on those wheel routes and things like that. He's a guy that can actually cover, recognize the play, figure it out, react quickly, get there. So Kendall Daniels is my pick as most improved player.
Well, I'm going to go with David Stone, kind of the easy pick there, maybe the easiest one, the 5-star who's after the nonsense this spring has dedicated himself, has been a great Sooner, looks poised for a huge year. Gabe and Teddy say he's making the most disruptive plays in the backfield and practices they're at. I think, with Jaden Jackson probably requiring double teams and just pushing the pocket, you're going to see Stoney in the backfield, sacks, tackles for loss, and he's going to have a big year.
Yeah, I was saying that I was telling Kyle in there that I had Kobe McKenzie in this position as well. I also thought about David Stone for that one also. So I think honestly you could have went any of these, and I love Kendall Daniels. And yeah, look, the people that talk about that he quit on Okie Light and all that kind of stuff, so did everybody. So did the entire coaching staff.
It's like Gundy.
Yeah,
Give me a freaking break.
again, the entirety of the coaching staff. Gundy quit on him 5 years ago, but that, you can't blame it all on these kids and stuff whenever nobody was doing anything well. I didn't really see him. It looked to me like he was out of place, didn't really know what he was doing, and so he probably did loaf it a little bit. You don't get to loaf on this defense. You talked about that a bunch. What's the same thing you've been saying about Marvin Jones Jr.? He's had a motor problem that a lot of places people have said you can't have that here if you want to play.
Many issues with, you can make the point, daggers at Chavis and Hall that you want about various things, but you cannot say that their kids don't play hard. If they don't play hard, they don't play.
Right.
And I think Daniels alone, the color upgrade, maybe will make him an All-American just by that. Dumping that horrible orange and going with sooner crimson.
Last year doesn't matter to this year.
Just the color upgrade alone will probably make him an All-American.
I think so too, man. I mean, when you live in Stillwater.
Location change and the color upgrade, that's got to be worth like All-American status.
Oh, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Moving on to the next one. And it's 9:23 and Texas still sucks. Game of the year. I've just had to switch it because you guys I would have.
We stole your answers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I saw your answers first. I had Alabama. I think that is the game of the year type of game for sure. But I also think that, LSU believes they can beat Oklahoma, so they're going to come in, and I think if Oklahoma gets a win there, it's probably going to be a hell of a game, right?
If we're halfway right, and both of these teams are fighting for a playoff spot, that could also be a Heisman. That could be a Heisman deciding game.
We'll see, and we were talking about that with Heisman Trophy stuff. I was actually talking to Jake Crane right before the show. We did one earlier. He's got Mateer winning it. We talked about this the other day. If you're going to win that, Boganowski was talking about it. You're going to have to beat the Heisman contender in South Carolina, and you'll probably have to beat Nussmeier as well in this last game if you're going to win that thing. Along with Arch Manning, the favorite for the. I know, they're already going to have done that. So, we'll see about. I think he may be a finalist either way. But I think the Heisman is very much. It may come down to this game, without a doubt. Hey, Chris.
I picked Texas simply because I just wanted to spite Bevo's bodyguard. I just wanted him to come in here and talk about the Super Bowl stuff or whatnot. You know how Texas fans talk about. I think this is a game right here where you kind of quote unquote let your nuts hang and you go ahead and get it out of the way. I think you get in there quick. I think you can be very decisive, and I think that all phases of the game. I think you kind of put on display on the national scene, another national spotlight game. As far as just kind of showing the nation, like, hey, look, last year was last year. That was an anomaly. This is this year. And so this is who you call the best. So we'll show you. But they may be a little bit wounded by the time they see us anyways. Keep it moving.
Yeah, and I had the Bama game, for similar reasons that Jason talked about. I just think it's going to be I think, the 3 losses OU's going to eat, we're going to look at those games and with a little distance say, OU played really well. They just got beat. Brent didn't screw up. No, there wasn't any massive deficiencies. We just played good football teams, played great games. They played good games against them, but just came up a little short. That's why I think the Bama game is going to be kind of an instant classic.
Yeah, I can see it. I agree. Yeah, I figured Bevo would talk shit about Jake Crane because he's not been the biggest Texas fan. He's the only one not glazing you guys. Offensive MVP. If I got him winning the Heisman or close to the Heisman, it's John Mateer. I think that as important as any player that you possibly could have. Obviously, they needed a quarterback. That I think they needed his the confidence that he brings with him, the swagger that we haven't really seen that in the last few years. The biggest difference I think that this football team is gonna have. There's lots of talent. I think that they're going to be great in a lot of places. I think that the biggest thing that could get them over the top here is this injection of confidence that came with Mateer. I don't think that it can be understated, and I think he's the offensive MVP already to me. Okay, Chris.
Kchris, you want to go?
Oh, my fault. No, I got John Mateer. The same reasons that you guys will probably have John Mateer. No secret there. I think that he comes and he changes everything for us.
So I just wanted to be different here. I'm gonna spin you here why I say Jaden Ott. I think Ott is going. I think Mateer is obviously kind of the obvious answer. He has a great year. OU has a great year, but I think Ott kind of, he's a bad example here. You switch it however you want growing up. He's Luke Skywalker to Han Solo. He's Han Solo to Luke Skywalker. He's basically the one guy that takes the pressure off Mateer so that Mateer has that juice when we need it. Like, in those games where we need to put teams away, I think Jaden Ott in the fourth quarter goes 60 yards when defenses are tired. I just think Jaden Ott's going to have some, as long as he's healthy, and that's like true for everybody. And I'm almost sick of saying that, but I think Ott is also Ott the slot. You heard it from me. That's my brand name. I think he's going to get a lot of passes, a lot of passes, swing routes, stuff like that, where, he leaks out of the backfield. Teams are so focused on trying to pen in Mateer, they lose him. And Mateer scrambles, finds him downfield, and he makes big plays. So I think Jaden Ott is the security blanket, like Joe Mixon and Pirine that helped, and Anderson that helped Mayfield have those years. I think Ott fills that role with a little cameo from Torrey Blaylock filling in, helping a little bit. But I think Ott gives you that 1,000-yard season running the ball, 400 or 500 yards receiving. And it's the closest thing that we've seen since Joe Mixon in 2016, where we're like, everything breaks down. Mateer's scrambling, and then all of a sudden, Ott flashes open 20 yards downfield. He flips him the ball, and then Ott houses it. And the defense is like, we fucking did everything right. Held Mateer, covered everyone, and OU still got a fucking 60-yard touchdown on us. I think he's a Ott big plays in the passing game are like the backbreaker for the OU offense.
I'm here for it. I'm here for that. Cool. All right. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and move on. Defensive MVP. It's Jaden Jackson for me. He spent some time out during the spring and summer even, and he comes back in and is just as dominant, or more so. The dude is elite in every sense of the word. He's a monster. He has the skill level. His pad level is in the right spot at all times. If you can move this guy, and nobody really can, good luck. I think he's an All-American this year. Give me Jaden Jackson.
I'm going David Stone simply because I think he's going to be a true disruptor this year. I think that not only is he going to be disruptive, but I think he's going to combine what you got from Jaden Jackson and Grayson Halton last year. I think that he's going to be able to be in the backfield a lot, getting sacks. I think he's going to get a lot of TFLs as well, straight up off the running back. But his first step has always been crazy, and his teammates are going to feed off of that, especially on the defensive line. So you're going to have to scheme for a lot of people, but I can see people obviously trying to run mini games and different things like that towards our Mason Thomas, and then obviously trying to, basically saying, hey, everybody else on that defensive line is going to have to beat us. But I'm interested to see kind of where he's at in the rotation, whether he's a starter or whether he is a backup or whatnot, just to kind of see what that pair looks like. 2023, I think we had like Bothroyd and Kelly, and I think that we had like Coe and Lacey, and we were able to kind of run out there, with different units. And this time, I think that we are probably about 5 deep. It's going to be interesting to see is it Trent Wilson or is it Marcus Strong? Kind of trend towards Marcus Strong, obviously. But Trent Wilson and obviously Nigel Smith, they're still there as well on the inside. But I think it's going to be interesting to see who
playing well too. Yeah,
I think it's going to be interesting to see who David Stone plays with as far as who's his natural pair. Obviously, I think it'd be Jaden Jackson because they have a lot of chemistry. But he has a quick first step. Guy gets home. Guy he can play finesse. He can play physical. So I think this is a year that he really makes a statement.
I'm going to go with Kobe McKenzie because I think your 2 picks are going to make offensive lines life's a living hell, and Kobe is going to clean up. I also like the leadership he's been providing. He's at a great camp. He's in the best physical shape he's ever been in. If you look at him, he's not top heavy any longer. He is just leaned up and 235 pounds of he's in phenomenal shape, and he's had a great camp. So, and I don't know, Brent, middle linebackers, they're just MVPs in the team, right? I mean, that's just sort of the way it goes. If your Mike is playing at an elite level, and it could be because of the defense, right? Like Lance Mitchell behind that line, Teddy and Rocky behind, the 01 lines and the 02 defensive lines. Those guys all look great. Sugoi English is saying Kobe is apparently the best in pass coverage, the best in space that he has of his career. Yeah. And I was with.
He seemed to have when he was talking about Sammy O, and Sammy O talked about it too.
Yeah,
it's good competition, but that's what he was talking about. I think it makes us both better no matter what. But he seemed very relaxed about that job.
And it's everybody saying the Kobe thing. I'm hearing that from everybody that he looks unbelievable. So I'm going to go with you can't go wrong with a defensive MVP being a Mike linebacker for Brent's system. You just can't.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Who makes the SEC championship game? At one point, I think we all had the same. I've got Georgia and Bama in it. Same. I think Alabama they still have a ton of talent. They've got a quarterback that can throw. I don't know what I think of Ty Simpson so much, but I think that he's, according to everything that we're hearing out of Tuscaloosa, he has taken the job and with force. It wasn't like a thing where they just gave it to him because he's a senior. I don't think that's what it is. It sounds to me like he's been the best player over the last couple of weeks. I don't know that it's really about him. I think you just have to be a caretaker of the ball with what they have. And they've got really good receivers, but they have a great offensive line. I think their defense is legit. The D-line is really good. Their secondary is pretty good. I think that they're probably the best team in the SEC again. And, Kalen DeBoer has lost, in year 2s, he's never lost more than, 2 games. I trust Alabama.
I've got the same matchup, but I'm going to go with what I've heard, that the Georgia offensive line looks better and their wide receiver room looks better, that they've upgraded in the 2 weakest areas they had. I don't know about Gunnar Stockton, but there's lots of other quarterback questions in the SEC. Georgia's got good running backs. The Frazier kid could step it up, so I have them playing Alabama. I have Georgia beating Texas, and that's why they are in Atlanta to play Alabama again.
I just wanted to be different, so I just said Georgia LSU. So nothing to really run there.
Well, if they beat OU, then if they go 10-2, there's a chance. It really comes down to, do you put 3 losses on Texas in the regular season with their weaker SEC schedule, right? How does that happen? because LSU wouldn't have a tiebreaker over Texas necessarily. I'm not sure how you would break the tie if Texas drops the Georgia and OU games. How you break the tie with Georgia?
I don't know, but I have a feeling we're going to know what the tiebreakers are before long.
I do, because I think it's going to be a collision at some point. But hey, Chris, I think I like your answer, and Nussmeier versus Georgia that'll be a good SEC title game.
Yeah,
I think it would be too. Except it ain't. Alabama wins it all. They beat Georgia. They always beat Georgia. Come on. I mean, we're gonna pick Georgia to win the SEC when they don't ever beat Alabama.
Well, it has to happen sometime, right? So
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The last time they beat them at home was in 2003. No, it doesn't. So I don't know. Go ahead. Give me your reason.
Well, it said the game's at the Mercedes Stadium. That's the one place Georgia can beat Alabama, right?
That's the one win that Kirby's got over them.
Yeah, so it's back there. So they that's how they get the win. So
okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm presuming I'm taking a big leap.
Yeah.
Georgia's fixed their wide receiver and O-line problems. Everybody's saying they have, and I'm in Atlanta, so that's all I hear.
Right.
That they fixed them. I'm like, okay, well, OU doesn't play them, so all right, so why not?
I did stop at a Georgia practice while I was out there on that side of town, or on that side of the world, and yeah, they looked good. They look good.
They're loaded. I mean,
Kirby was working their asses off. He's cussing them up and down. I mean, on that bullhorn constantly. That dude works his ass off on the field. He does. It was I don't know that I thought Gunner looked pretty good. Seeing him in person, I don't know that I think he's great. I certainly don't see him as, a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the conference right now.
Yeah, but I didn't think Stetson Bennett was all that good either, and he won 2 titles. So.
But listen, my thing is I don't, until I see them run the football better, because I haven't seen them really run it that well in a while.
No, you're right. They've been down the last 2 years. If they can run the ball, they've got good backs. Nathan Frazier is a really good back if he's healthy.
Right.
And like I said, that's kind of where I'm going with that. So can I get a ranking 1 to 10 on the how big a player move is it for Mateer to bring OU Beats headphones to OU practice for every player via the Sooner Schooner? How big a boss move is that? From 1 to 10, I think it's it's a Spinal Tap 11.
Yeah, listen, it was
that's a I'm good and I fucking know it move, isn't it?
It's a baller move on his part. It's a total leadership thing. He didn't to not
using the Sooner Schooner. That's like, hey man,
that's pretty.
That's pretty.
Hey, listen, he got Venables to shut down his damn speech at the end of the practice to do it all. So
exactly,
that in and of itself is something from what we understand. So, listen, I like. I love it. It's like I said. I think that what he's brought to this team. I went back and watched that interview that he did with Kendall Dolby.
Yeah.
On his pod, and every time I hear him talk, I come away even a little bit more impressed. He's not a selfish dude at all. It's not a me thing or anything like that. He's working with these guys. The fact that we know that he's working as hard as he is on it, just with Michael Hawkins, to try to help him along in this offense and get him where he is. And everything we hear about Michael Hawkins is that, bro, he is ready if his number calls.
I told you at the practice that my buddy saw, and he said that Mateer is like in Hawk's hip pocket, right? They are like attached at the hip. Every time Hawkins came out, Mateer's debriefing him, coaching him up, that it's like, and Hawkins is like following him around in practice, like, I'm going to soak up everything he's doing. I'm following him to get everything that he's doing. But you were right. The stuff on Hawkins is pretty. It's so encouraging, because I just want Mike's 2 kids to be awesome Sooners.
I do too, man. I'm excited. Oh man, the story for Mike Senior is. Yeah. Mike Senior is such a good guy, man. He's such a cool guy, and the stuff that he went through in his life to get to where he is, and to raise these 2 awesome kids. Yeah, they are going to be awesome Sooners, and I think that
I mean, Malik is the only reason we're not talking about Malik left and right is because Guillory has just gone stupid with his freshman year.
Well, and the same with, I mean, we're talking, I don't think that there's a big separation between those three guys that we're talking about either. When you start talking about
No.
Jeremiah Newcomb, Malik, they all do it. And I think that they could all, I mean, look,
Yeah.
you could call on any of them. I think they're going to do a good job. But Cortland Guillory is that guy.
Yeah, it's not that Malik has struggled.
He's got the, no, he hasn't. Everything I've heard is that he's been great. Look, we talked about with Makari Vickers and Josiah Wagner a couple of years ago when, obviously Makari left after last year, but that you were talking, I remember one of the first pods we did together, you were talking about, look, guys that get passed up on these defenses, if they're hurt, if they have issues and stuff, I mean, you almost can't afford it anymore because the depth on the defensive side of the ball over here is legit everywhere. And we're talking a bunch of freshmen, true freshmen, and Newcomb isn't a true freshman. He's a soft redshirt, but got a bunch of freshman kids that are coming in ready to go. Eli was a freshman All-American along with Jaden Jackson. Now you got a guy like Guillory that if Eli Bowen isn't ready to come back in, there's no reason to rush him back, you could have another one at the same position. It's unbelievable. And then you get, obviously, Gentry Williams coming back. We can't not talk about Devon Jordan because, those guys just start at Oklahoma. And, it is what it is. So I think that it's going to be look, you Texas guys can talk all the shit you want, but the talk isn't going to help your guys in Dallas. It's just not.
Look, guys, we have a game with you. Talk after the game, right? We're talking about our preseason and our camp. You can go talk about the fact you guys don't have a second team offensive tackle at left and right. And, so let the Texas trash just whatever. We're talking about our stuff, whatever. So a couple of quick recruiting notes, then I could bail. T-Ron Richardson, obviously Tank Carrington verbaled. Go to my Patreon, go to my podcast if you want to hear all about that. My podcast, I give you 20 minutes on Tank Carrington. I won't repeat that. You guys all know where my podcast is on either YouTube or on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Sooners 360 podcast.
In the description as well.
20 minutes on Carrington, pros, cons. I gave you everything I got on him.
Yeah.
But T-Ron Richardson's verbaling in 5 days, so that should be Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. That should be another win for OU, another super athletic, high-ceiling defensive tackle. And the guys who are currently saying they're coming to the Michigan game, it might be the best unofficial visit weekend I've ever seen OU host. There are, at this point, 5 five-star guys for 2027 who said they're coming to the game.
Oh, my.
And that's, 6, because there's one from 2028, even though I think 5 stars for 2028 is kind of ridiculous. But one of them is going to be in town, so two of them are going to be in town, so what are you going to do? So between 2027 and 2028, you're talking about 7 or 8 5-star top 30 players in the country being on campus. It's going to be an amazing weekend. There might have a couple of flip candidates in town as well. If you also are listening, if you're on my Patreon, you know about the linebacker that Jason tipped me off about. You want more information on that? Go to my Patreon and you'll find out before anybody else a rundown and a review of a linebacker that the other sites aren't talking about, and he will be at the Michigan game. So it could be an interesting addition to this recruiting class.
It is a freaking stud.
It could be Nagy just picking out something people are missing. The guy is a potential beast at middle linebacker. Would be a great compliment to Jandro and Ja'Cory Smith if OU was able to pull that off. So that's some recruiting nuggets and some pitches for you there. Really, the stuff I did on Carrington is about as balanced and as complete as you'll find anywhere on the net for free.
Awesome.
Jason, pull up that last slide before we got to jump off of here.
We're here. Yeah, we're coming with it now. Second. yeah, we're just all we got left is just to obviously, hey,
It was just kind of hard right there to play a tough game and don't get it done.
okay, I'm gonna have to move that over there because I don't think anybody was hearing us just now, or maybe they were, but I'm not. I don't think they were. So,
All right.
give me 1 second here. Go ahead though, but you can go ahead and pick. It's Iowa State, Kansas State.
Yeah,
Onward.
I picked K State. Like I said, I like Avery Johnson. I like Kleiman. I think they get it done. I think this is the second year of his progression. I think that they will be able to get a couple more stops than an Iowa State will. I think that it'd be the battle of the 3-3-5, right? And then we will see what's going on. So 3-3-5 tight. See who's winning, who's doing what they need to do, and then we'll go from there.
I think Iowa is a little closer to Ireland, so I'm going to pick Iowa State.
I like that. I like that. Okay. I've got K State in this one. I mean, you could go either way, and I think that Iowa State's got a legit, obviously a legit defense, and I like their quarterback as well. This is a good game. You really can't really pick wrong because they go back and forth all the time. But I'm going to go ahead and pick K State for now. Yeah.
I think the rest of the games are kind of a wash. Obviously, I think we all picked UNLV to win that game against Idaho State. Will be interesting to kind of see that Dan Mullen era start. So, they're going to start two quarterbacks. They're going to play two quarterbacks, so we'll go from there. So, yeah.
I think that they run away with it though, and then the Kansas game, they're giving 12.5. With Matt Ince out there, I almost went the other way with that. And Fresno has a way of screwing things up for teams, especially early in the year. But I stuck with Kansas. Jalen Daniels, they're opening their new stadium and all that stuff, or their rebuilt stadium and everything. It looks great. But I think I think they find a way to cover that. Sam Houston State, Western Kentucky. Who the hell knows? I'm going to go with Western Kentucky because Sam Houston's never good. And then Stanford, I guess I believe in Andrew Luck and those guys. So
I think Hawaii wins purely because I think Stanford's roster was just so gutted. It was just picked clean with that whole coaching fire. When they fired the coach, it opened everything back up again, and things. That roster was just picked clean by Raiders everywhere. Texas Tech, OU is. We picked up a couple of guys, took two of their starting offensive linemen. I think Hawaii, for some reason, Hawaii wins that. Don't ask me why.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, sorry guys about that earlier. So yeah, listen, we will do this every week, obviously for the MyBookie Pick 5. Let us know what games you want us to pick next week. I think it's obvious we'll have Texas and Ohio State to pick next week. There's a couple of other ones. You got Bama, Florida State. There's a lot of good games. turns out I'm not going to be at the Bama-Florida State game. I'm going to go later in the year and watch them. So I will be in Norman. But let us know what games you think we should pick, and we'll make sure to get them out there. Make sure you go check out my bookie. Make your bets there. All right. Kchris, you got anything else before? Oh, he's split. All right. So Kchris is out of here. Mr. Mason, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Just keep an eye out for a verbal commitment next week. I think OU gets Teron Richardson, like I said, and that's a bigger pickup than most folks will assume. He's the ceiling on that kid. Just watch his first couple of plays in huddle. Big guys like that shouldn't move that fast or quick.
Yeah, yeah, dude, he's a stud, bro. Love it. Listen, excited that we are now week 0 is upon us. I don't care who's playing this weekend. I would have been watching it. It wouldn't matter. I'm so excited that football is upon us now, and I can't wait for next week. We are now 9 days away from the start of this season that everybody's been looking forward to. I think there's the revenge tour is on. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it, but we're going to be coming at you every Saturday from sometime. We haven't really worked all of it out yet, but I know we'll be coming on for reaction shows after the games once they get started up, wherever we may be. So appreciate you coming in, Mr. Mason. Tell everybody how to find you. If you were on my channel, make sure you go to the other two. You got Horns Down Podcast, Sooners 360 as well.
Easy way to find me, go to youtube.com, search Sooners 360, find my channel, find all my content, find all my podcasts there, and catch up on recruiting.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
We will talk to you. We'll see you all on the next one.